to the TokyoBill Weekly Update. News on Japan of interest to me, TokyoBill. In this week's news, Japan makes the list for world's best coffee shops, Hokkaido's eye-friendly onions, Canada and Japan sign energy and defense agreements, and more. Japan has improved its coffee scene significantly over the past 10 years and more, especially in Tokyo, known for innovative cafes and omakase-style tasting experiences. Two Japanese cafes, Alt Coffee in Osaka and Coffee Mamaya Kakeru in Tokyo, made the world's 100 best coffee shops list. The top 100 list, announced at Coffee Fest Madrid 2026, considered coffee quality, barista skills, customer service, food pairings, and other qualities. Expert evaluations comprised 70% of the weight, public votes making up the other 30%. Alt Coffee, founded by 2023 World Barista Champion Oram offers rare specialty coffee beans. Coffee Mamaya Kakeru provides coffee tasting courses for your sampling pleasure. Of course, if you just need a caffeine hit, you can order from your choice of coffee beans to suit your personal tastes. Australia's government has announced a mega project to construct a high-speed railway linking major cities along the east coast, with initial plans to connect Sydney to Newcastle via 190 kilometers of track, reducing travel time from over 2 hours to 1. The first phase is estimated to cost 55 billion Australian dollars and aims to eventually connect Brisbane and Melbourne over 1,800 kilometers. Japanese rail officials, keen to export bullet train technology, are in discussions with Australian counterparts. Masafumi Shukuri, chairman of the International High-Speed Rail Association, is keen for Japanese companies and local partners to move forward. After all, Japan's 60-year track record in high-speed rail is unparalleled in safety and service. Frustrations are rising in the Zao mountain range, spanning Yamagata and Miyagi prefectures, as tourists continue to trespass restricted areas to see juhyo, or snow monsters. These ice-covered trees, made more famous by National Geographic, attract crowds of visitors, many of whom bypass the orange off-limits rope so as to get their best photos. This behavior poses risk of damage to the trees, and indeed safety risks to the people themselves. Many of the trees have deep depressions nearby, so-called tree holes, which people fall into and get stuck, requiring assistance. Multilingual signage by the Zao Ropeway Company is apparently being defeated by the psychology of large crowds, and the need to get that extra special selfie. Kenya's Bridget Kosgei set a new course record at Sunday's Tokyo Marathon, finishing in 2 hours, 14 minutes, 29 seconds, over 2 minutes ahead of Ethiopia's Bertukan Weld, who came in second at 2:16:36. Hawi Fesa, also from Ethiopia, placed third with a time of 2:17:39. Kosuke beat the previous course record of 2:15:55, set by Situme Asifa Kebede in 2024. She aims to represent Turkey at the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics and encourages young athletes in Kenya to join her. In the men's race, Ethiopia's Tadesse Tekele defended his title, finishing in 2 hours, 3 minutes, 37 seconds, tying with Kenya's Jeffrey Toroitich, who was second. Alexander Mutiso Munyao, also of Kenya, was close behind in third. Sony Group has developed technology designed to trace the original sources of music generated by artificial intelligence. This initiative is intended to protect the rights of creators in response to growing concerns over the illicit use of copyrighted content during AI training. The technology allows composers, songwriters, and publishers to seek compensation from AI developers for the unauthorized utilization of their works. It analyzes data from AI models and benchmarks the produced music against original pieces, quantitatively measuring their contributions to aid in revenue recovery. A representative highlighted the aim of creating a system that ensures creators are fairly compensated. Sony's commitment to safeguarding content is increasingly evident, particularly following a lawsuit initiated by Sony Music Entertainment in the United States in 2024 regarding copyright violations associated with AI-generated music. An onion variety developed by House Foods is getting more attention by chefs who don't want their salads to make you cry. The smile ball onion does not cause tears when cut or give off overpowering pungency even when eaten raw. The discovery of an enzyme linked to onion's distinct pungency led to the variety's creation in 2012, which won an Ig Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2013. Smile ball onions, which retain their nutrients and do not stink up the kitchen or utensils, are gaining popularity among chefs and consumers for their sweetness and ease of preparation. Production is expected to increase to 1,000 metric tons by 2029, 5 times their current production, with Hokkaido serving as the main farming area. Let's take a short pause. In case you're wondering, I started the TokyoBill to write about the local craft beer scene, and then included news articles on Japan that I personally found interesting, not just the big stories carried by the mainstream media. If you like what you're hearing but want further information, please visit theTokyoBill.com for links to the original articles. Thanks. And now, back to this week's news. A Japanese-born doctor is set to be extradited from the United States, 11 years after allegations of his damaging cultural property. In 2015, incidents were reported of an oil-like substance being poured on national treasures and important properties at various temples and shrines across Japan. As reported last year, Masahide Kanayama had anointed over 10 locations within the Katori Jingu shrine grounds in Chiba Prefecture, including the Tori gates, as some sort of ritual expression of his Christian faith. Security footage showed the doctor pouring the liquid, leading to an arrest warrant issued by police, but not in time before his return stateside. A U.S. court approved the extradition request on Tuesday this week, and Chiba police officials have left for the United States to bring him to Japan. A Japanese high court has upheld the dissolution of the Unification Church following a government request initiating liquidation procedures. The ruling is based on the church's likely continued illegal solicitation of donations, which may put members into financial ruin. The church plans to appeal the decision, maintaining that it did not engage in improper solicitations. A former member expressed gratitude following Wednesday's ruling, noting the many years they'd called for justice. The case gained attention after the assassination of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, bringing to light many connections between the Unification Church and ruling members of the Liberal Democratic Party. This case represents the first dissolution order for a religious organization in Japan based on violation of the civil code rather than the criminal code. Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz in response to airstrikes from the US and Israel poses significant threats to Japan's energy supply. Japan is heavily reliant on oil imports, 35% of its energy coming from imported oil, about 20% of total energy needs coming from non-fossil fuels. The country sources over 95% of its oil from the Middle East, mainly from the UAE and Saudi Arabia. And while Japan has not imported oil from Iran since 2019 due to US sanctions, the closure of the strait is alarming given that most of Japan's oil shipments transit through it. As of December 31st, Japan holds 254 days' worth of oil reserves, but the anticipated closure is expected to drive up electricity and fuel costs in the country due to increased international oil prices. Japan and Canada signed a strategic agreement on Friday to enhance cooperation in defense, economic, and energy security amid concerns over oil supplies due to military actions in Iran. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi and visiting Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney highlighted the need for energy security during their talks in Tokyo. They agreed to diversify energy sources, expand trade and investment, and to initiate talks on economic security and cyber policies, especially in response to China's increasing activities. The leaders also decided to negotiate a defense pact to facilitate military collaboration and to strengthen cooperation in their arms industries. This follows a proposal by Takaichi's political party, the LDP, to lift restrictions on lethal weapons sales, indicating a shift from Japan's post-war pacifist stance. In Tokyo, an impressive sum of over 4.5 billion yen, roughly US $29 million, was turned in as lost property, marking the highest amount since records started in 1940, and easily beating last year's figure. This total isn't loose cash, it includes cash found in wallets and bags. A combination of the city's low crime rate and an uptick in tourists, who often carry cash, goes some way to explain why so much went missing. The police also logged a record 4.5 million lost items, with a surge in small electronic devices like earbuds. As for the cash, about 70% of missing money was reunited with the owners. So, if you happen to misplace something in Japan, it's best to report it to the police. There's a good chance you'll get it back. Japan's vending machine market is declining due to rising prices and changing consumer habits, particularly among younger generations who find alternatives at convenience stores and discount retailers cheaper. Major beverage companies like Ito-En and Coca-Cola reported significant losses in their vending machine businesses last fiscal year at 13.7 billion and 90.4 billion yen respectively. Pokka Sapporo Food and Beverage announced its plans this week to sell off its vending machine interests to Life Drink Company. And Daido Group, heavily reliant on vending machines, plans to reduce its number of machines by 20,000 and to diversify with new product offerings including snacks and diapers. From a peak of 5.6 million in 2000, the number of machines has dropped to under 4 million in 2024. A batch of fermented sake mash brewed on the International Space Station arrived in Japan on Friday. The mash, known as moromi in Japanese, was created in the Kibo space module and reached Kansai Airport from Los Angeles after returning to Earth on February 27th. Yamaguchi Prefecture-based brewery Dasai plans to refine it into sake. The project started in October 2025 when a brewing device was sent to space with rice, koji mold, and yeast. Astronauts began brewing aboard Kibo, and the mash was frozen until it returned to Earth. It is expected to produce about 100 milliliters of sake, which has already been sold for around 100 million yen to an undisclosed buyer. Dasai chairman Hiroshi Sakurai stated they are beginning to explore making sake on the moon, suggesting its potential to better life in space. And that brings us to the end of this week's news roundup. Once again, your visit to theTokyoBill.com would be greatly appreciated. I've been, and remain, Tokyo Bill. Thank you for listening, and take care.